Imagine finding yourself in a house that everyone warns you about, a house where people disappear without a trace and strange whispers fill the air. What would you do if you walked in, thinking you could handle it? But then, the door slammed shut behind you, and something began watching you from the shadows? Tonight, you're about to witness the terrifying truth of a haunted house that isn't just cursed, it's alive. But the real question is, once you're inside, can you ever leave? Stay tuned, because the answer will send chills down your spine. It was a cold autumn night when Laura decided to investigate the local legend of a haunted house at the edge of town. The rumors surrounding the house had always intrigued her. People said that anyone who entered would never leave the same, and some would vanish without a trace. But the more she heard, the more curious she became. With the moon barely visible through the thick fog, Laura drove along the winding path to the house. The eerie silhouette of the mansion appeared like a shadow, dark and foreboding. It was said to be abandoned for years, but something inside her told her she had to go inside. She couldn't resist. She parked at the end of the long driveway, feeling her heart beat faster with anticipation. Every instinct screamed at her to turn back, but curiosity pushed her forward. She couldn't shake the feeling that tonight would be the night she'd uncover the house's dark secrets. As Laura stepped inside, a sudden drop in temperature hit her. The air felt thick, heavy with something unexplainable. She shone her flashlight around, illuminating the dilapidated furniture and peeling wallpaper. The silence was overwhelming. Every creak of the floorboards under her feet seemed deafening. She fumbled for her phone, her fingers trembling as she checked the screen. It buzzed, but there was no message, just a strange, unsettling static. Laura's heartbeat quickened as she stuffed the phone back in her pocket. She wasn't alone. As she moved further into the house, whispers started. Faint at first, barely audible, like soft murmurs from another room. The words blended together, unintelligible, but they grew louder as she walked deeper into the house. Laura's breath caught in her throat, her heart pounding. She wasn't just hearing things. Her flashlight flickered. The walls around her seemed to stretch and distort, as if the house itself was alive, breathing with every step she took. The air felt heavier. Was it her imagination, or was the house really alive, responding to her presence? Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. A message appeared, the words sending a chill down her spine. Get out. It's already too late. Panic surged through Laura as she spun around, looking for an exit. But when she reached the door, it was gone. In its place, a thick, swirling black mist filled the room, pulsating with a life of its own. Laura's breath hitched as she realized she was trapped. She rushed to the windows, but they were covered in the same dark mist. There was no escape. Her flashlight flickered one last time before it went out completely. In the darkness, she felt it, a presence. Something cold, something watching her. A figure, tall, thin, with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through the blackness. The figure didn't move its lips, but Laura heard its voice in her mind. You're mine now. Her body froze as a wave of terror washed over her. She couldn't breathe. Her legs buckled beneath her, and she fell to the floor, paralyzed with fear. The figure stepped closer, its presence suffocating. The room seemed to close in around her, the walls tightening with each breath she took. The whispers grew louder, swirling around her, taunting her. You shouldn't have come. You shouldn't have come. She wanted to scream, to run, but no sound escaped her lips. It was as if the house had stolen her voice. It had stolen her will to fight. The figure reached out with cold fingers, brushing against her cheek. A wave of ice swept through her, freezing her in place. The whispers circled, louder now, more insistent. The house wasn't just haunted, it was a trap, and Laura had fallen right into it. Suddenly, the figure pulled back, disappearing into the mist. The air around her grew still. The oppressive weight of the house seemed to lift for a moment. Laura's trembling hand reached toward the door. It was open. She could leave. But as her foot crossed the threshold, the voice whispered again, not yet. The door slammed shut with a deafening crash. The room grew darker. The whispers filled the space, growing louder, more frantic. The walls seemed to close in, and the very air seemed thick with dread. The flashlight flickered back to life for a split second, casting a brief, final glimpse of the figure in the corner. It smiled. A slow, knowing smile. Laura's stomach dropped as she realized, with chilling certainty, that the house hadn't just claimed her body.